Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order.
Okay, I'm going to take roll call. Mr. Hoffman?
Here.
Mr. Schneider? All right, is your microphone on? I don't think I heard it.
Here.
Thank you. And then Mr. Smedshammer.
Here.
Due to the chair, we have a quorum.
Okay, before the meeting can progress any further, we do need to elect a chair and a vice chair.
That would have been good to know before the meeting. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
What's the status of Mark tonight?
Is Mark no longer
I believe
on
at the,
board?
I'm sorry?
Is Mark no longer on the board?
I believe he retired, and at the last meeting in 2022, which was
November.
it in November 3rd? I'm sorry, it was November 2nd. It was requested that the new chair be elected at the next meeting, and this meeting is the next meeting.
Just to clarify, did Mark Kanai let you know in a formal way that he was retiring?
Yes.
Can I make a motion then?
Yes.
So I would nominate Mr. Snyder as chair and Mr. Hoffman as vice chair.
And if we only have us, I guess we're seconding to the extent that if we're doing it as a joint nomination there, then I guess can we second ourselves? And then I guess in that respect, or they need to be done separately?
Let's do them separately.
Fair enough. So do you want to nominate do one at a time? So we can, thank you.
I would nominate Mr. Snyder as chair.
And I'll second that. And with that, I mean, as soon as we can do all those in favor.
All in
Doesn't
favor,
matter.
say aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Or do you
Okay,
want a roll call?
Let's let Stephanie do the roll call.
Okay, fair.
Okay, Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Smedshammer?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I think.
I would make another motion that Mr. Hoffman take the position of vice chair.
I'd second that motion.
Okay, Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
And Mr. Smedshammer?
Yes.
Thank you.
So now we have a chair and we can proceed with the meeting.
All right. Thank you very much. Since the meeting's been called to order, a roll call, I believe.
Okay, Mr. Hoffman?
Here.
Mr. Schneider?
Here.
Mr. Smedshammer?
Here.
Due to the chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. I'll ask for an approval of the consent calendar, items 9 through 11 on the docket. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Second?
Does that include the minutes? Are the minutes included in the consent items? Minutes from November?
9 through 11.
I have a change on there that I'd like to propose to the minutes from November 11th, or 2nd, excuse me.
I'm sorry, we're having a hard time hearing.
Are the minutes of November, the November minutes, I'm assuming, are included in the consent calendar items, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I need to propose a change in there, if I could, please.
Okay.
To the spelling of my name, which doesn't match this one either. It's HOFMANN, one F, two N's. It's got two F's and two N's in the minutes.
Okay, that change will be made. Thank you.
Thank you. Otherwise, I would second the consent calendar, approval of the consent calendar items.
All right. No, as those corrections are stated, have been requested, are the minutes approved?
I vote yes, they are approved.
Okay, I'm going to do a roll call vote for the minutes. Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
And Mr. Smedjammer?
Yes.
Due to the chair, motion passes.
Okay, we can't hear. Do you have your mics on?
Thank you. Will all the witnesses who intend to testify today, please stand and raise your right hand so that the board may swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in the matters pending before the hearing board today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Did you hear that? I didn't hear a response. Okay.
I
do.
I do.
Thank you. I call the matter of Owens Brockway. Owens Brockway Glass Container, short variant docket number N2302S. And ask the applicants come forward and identify yourselves, please.
Are the applicants in the northern region?
They're not, nobody here has identified themselves, no.
Okay, 1 second. We are trying to get a hold of the petitioner and also figure out whether or not this can still go forward, okay? Give us a minute. We have no objections, then we will proceed with the request for variance. Estella will present, and if there's any questions, Clay and Estella will answer the questions.
In that case, I'll turn it over to the staff for the report.
Can we just
Thank
get
you.
quick clarification? Were you able to reach the petitioner?
Yes, I actually spoke with her on the phone. She didn't realize she had to be here in person, even though all the correspondence indicated the petition has to be at the hearing in person. She apologized and she said she could be here in 30 minutes. I told her I didn't know that I had to come back and speak to the board.
I think since they've applied through the staff that we can go ahead with the report and move forward. Generally, we'd ask them if there was any additional information they wanted to add to the report. So If we'd like to, if it's, good with the staff, let's go ahead and continue.
Staff is fine moving forward.
Thank you. Go ahead with the staff report then.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Estela Soto, and I'm a senior air quality specialist here with the district. And before you today is Owens Brockway Glass Container Inc., which I will refer to as Owens from here on. Owens operates 3 natural gas-fired glass melting furnaces to melt sand, soda ash, and limestone and produce glass containers. To control particulate matter emissions, or PM, and oxides of sulfur, the exhaust stream of each furnace is routed through its own scrubber and electrostatic precipitator, or EP. To reduce oxides of nitrogen, the exhaust then passes through a selective catalytic reduction system, or SCR. A continuous emissions monitoring system, or SEMS, is located on each individual stack to monitor NOx, SOx, carbon monoxide, CO, and a variety of operating parameters, including temperatures and flows. A continuous opacity monitoring system, COMS, also measures the visible emissions from each stack. Owens natural gas-fired furnaces are monitored for emissions of NOx, SO2, and CO. These monitors undergo quality assessment and quality control daily. The system uses air supply for daily calibrations and overall functioning of the analyzers. Owens is installing a dedicated air supply system to improve the performance of the SEMS monitoring systems. During the tie-in of the air supply system, the existing systems will be disconnected. During that time, no emissions data will be available, and Owens will be out of compliance with the permit conditions. Further, each of the 3 furnaces has its own stack with its own emission control devices. That equipment consists of a SOx, sorbent scrubber, and EP, and the SCR system using ammonia injection, and all vented to a stack. Owens is planning on conducting a project to replace the existing SCR catalyst on all 3 furnaces. Due to constraints in obtaining the spare parts and finding a contractor to perform these tasks, each furnace will be worked on separately. Thus, the SEMS will be bypassed individually based on the repair schedule. To conduct the maintenance, the furnace exhaust stream must bypass the emission control devices. District Rule 4354 allows for excess NOx, VOC, CO, SOx, and PM emissions for up to 104 hours per year per furnace during the maintenance of the emission control devices. Currently, Owens has 0 maintenance hours remaining for Furnace C, 56.8 hours remaining for Furnace A, and 58.8 hours remaining for Furnace B. However, Owens facility-wide permit and District Rule 4101 do not allow for excess visible emissions during routine maintenance of the emissions control devices. Therefore, Owens has requested a short variance from the applicable requirements of District Rules, California Health and Safety Code, Section 41701, in addition to the applicable conditions of the subject permits. The requested variance period would be from August 13th, 2023 through October 13th, 2023 inclusive. While the SCR catalysts are being replaced, Owens is requesting 111.25 hours of variance protection for Furnace A, 109.2 hours for Furnace B, and 168 hours for Furnace C. If granted, the variance would allow the continued operation of the glass melting furnaces without a functional SEMS while the dedicated air supply line is installed. The district believes that the required findings as set forth in California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that Owens be granted a short variance with the conditions on pages 5 and 6 of the staff report. And that concludes the district's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you to the staff. Is there any comment from Owens Brockway Glass? Hearing none, I'll close the public portion and open it to the board members.
I wish the representative was here because I'm a little unclear on some of the, they had a set number of hours already available. And it sounded like from the, less from what I read, but more from the oral presentation.
That is correct.
Did they not foresee in terms of their ability for planning for this and what they were allotted already, I mean, these numbers are sizable in comparison to what I understand they were allowed to have at the outset. So was this a lack of planning on their part? Or is it simply just an inability to get parts and people there on time? I'm confused by that.
It's the latter, Mr. Hoffman. Their catalyst, will degrade over time, but I think to get the parts and everything, they didn't realize that it was going to take the time frame. They're going to do each one separately. And each furnace, the 144 hours per our district rule for maintenance, where you get relief from the criterion air pollutants, not the visible emissions. So some of the furnaces have had maintenance done during the year. Generally, most glass plants do the most maintenance is on their EP, because EPs tend to have the most maintenance requirement because you get buildup, so that's pretty much a regular thing for most glass plants. So they did chew into maintenance on two of the furnaces. One of the furnaces, they had, gone through all the maintenance. The other two had some remaining. So they're going to replace all their catalysts, and they're going to do it in separate chunks. And, that was one of our first questions. Why aren't you doing them all together at once? To get the parts, as these catalysts are being made, they're made to order some of these new catalysts. So the suppliers, we're not going to be able to supply them with them all at once. So they're going to do them. That's why they're staging them, because that was our first concern. Why are you staging them? I apologize, they're not here, so I don't have to answer maybe more details for your question. Is that sufficient to answer your question?
That helps clarify a bit.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other questions from any of the members of the board? If not, I will request a motion.
We need to ask for any public comments on the variance.
Sorry, I noticed I missed that. Are there any public comments or questions for the staff or applicant from any of the public? Hearing none, then I will go ahead and request a motion at this time.
I'll proceed with that. I'm hesitant to do this with them not being present. I'll admit it, I am uncomfortable with that, but setting that aside, I will move to approve petitioner Owens Brockway Glass Container Inc.'s petition for a short variance. It's set forth in docket number N2302S. Requires 6 findings of the Health and Safety Code adopted by reference to set forth in the staff report. And, the variance will be for the period effective August, I believe it's the 13th, 23 through October 13th to 23, or until the maintenance is completed and the emission control devices are returned to compliance, whichever comes first. And this will be subject to the conditions of pages 5 and 6 of the staff report.
Talking right.
And I will second that on with the understanding that we're operating under the guidance of counsel from Fresno. So second.
I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll for the vote.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mr. Smedchammer,
Yes.
through to the chair, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any public, excuse me, are there any public comments? Any hearing board member comments? Any new business?
Maybe
Oh,
I have one.
My apologies. Go ahead.
I guess with the formal resignation of Mr. Kanai, is there an effort to find a replacement for him? And does that involve us at all? Is there any progress report about that?
Yes, we have put out that the district is seeking hearing board members. not only primary members, but also alternates. However, if you do have anyone that would be interested, we ask that either you send information to us and we can reach out to them, or we can send you links and you can distribute that to anyone who you feel would be interested.
And is that position stipulated to be an attorney, or is there any kind of stipulation about what the role should fill, like expertise,
so-
et cetera?
At this point, we do need the primary attorney spot filled as well as an alternate spot. And then we would also need alternates for each of your categories.
I have a question on that because, I am an attorney. Originally, that was what kind of the setup. You know, I believe I did come in as an alternate attorney, and I believe that was gotten rid of because Mark was the attorney, and then I actually had to change to a public member. So the question is, this was years ago. So
Okay.
I could fill either spot, but there needs to be some clarification as to what it is and what's needed.
Yes, Mr. Hoffman, after the meeting, I will meet with the staff that I need to meet with, and we'll determine how to go about that. We do need 2 members of the public, an attorney, an engineer, and a medical professional. And so as long as we have at least three to make the quorum, we can continue with meetings. However, we are working to get primary seats filled as well as alternates for those 5 different categories.
Then I have another question, and maybe, if we're done with that, in terms of, and maybe some staff here, I can talk to them. In terms of just making sure that the trainings that we have, ethics was completed, we have a harassment training that's due, or maybe I'm behind on that. And then there was an additional something that was coming down the line, that we had a 3rd item that I believe we had to comply with here in short order.
You should have received emails from the clerk if there was something that needed to be renewed by you individually.
I'll circle back. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Did that answer your question? Okay, thank you.
If there's no other new business, I'll adjourn the meeting. With the next scheduled meeting being September 6th. Are there any issues for that meeting as of this time?
As of now, we haven't had any people suggesting that they'll be submitting a petition.
Okay.
I
I'll go
appreciate
ahead
you gentlemen's cooperation. I know it's a little different today and hectic, and I really appreciate it.
All right. You're welcome. Meeting is formally adjourned.